Welcome back to the Tuesday's Gita session. We'll continue our discussion of chapter 10 of the Gita. So last week we covered up to Shloka 26. So we'll try to see the next set of few verses. Basically, we were covering the glories of Ishvara based on Arjuna's request to understand the Vibhutis. Vibhutis means the glories of Ishvara in detail. Krishna was elaborating what is that special glories, because everything is Ishvara's glory. There is nothing in this universe that is not Ishvara's glory. What is that special glory that can be recognized by all? That is what, because when you see that, it is an easy way to relate with Ishvara. And these are alambanas, or the objects of meditation for a sincere seeker. So that is the whole purpose of these shlokas. From 19 to 42, we are seeing this. So wherever something needs to be highlighted in the universe, it could be in the natural universe, like the sun, the stars, or the rivers, or the mountains, etc. What is the special glorification of that? That aspects will be highlighted. Among incarnations, if something needs to be highlighted, that is highlighted. Among Puranas, if there are something that needs to be highlighted, Krishna is pulling example. So from the Puranic side, from the Vishwarupa side, and from the Vedantic side, he is taking different examples and presenting in front of us. And each one of these examples are potential objects of meditation, where you can see some glory, where you think that some splendor, something great, meaning what exactly you appreciate, it varies from individual to individual. Some people appreciate more on the Puranic aspect. Some people appreciate more on the natural aspect. Some people may appreciate more on the Vedantic aspect. It doesn't matter what exactly you connect with. Whatever you connect with, see used as an object of meditation. That is the whole purpose of this chapter. So we'll continue to elaborate on this topic. So we covered up to Shloka 26 in the previous session. So we are going to see, what we are going to see today is first 27, Shloka 27. So let's try to listen to the chanting.
उच्चैश्रवसमश्वानः विद्धि माममृतोत्तमम् ऐरावतं गजेन्द्राणां नराणां च नराधिपम्.
So he says, out of all the horses, know me to be Uchchaishravas, born out of this Samudra Manthan, before Amrita. And among the elephants, I am Airavata. And among men, I am the king or the emperor. So these are again, see, wherever there is glory, he is trying to highlight. So a couple of examples are from the Purana, and the other one is from the day-to-day life. So the story is during the Samudra Manthan, what happens? There are a lot of valuables were came out because the challenges were inevitable, because there were a lot of challenges, but persistent effort of Devas and Asuras resulted in a lot of valuables. And some of the outcomes of that Samudra Manthan was Lakshmi Devi, like Kaustubha, it's a divine gem. Airavata, that is a celestial elephant. Uchchaishrava, that is a divine horse. And then finally the Halahala or the Kalakuta, the poison came in. The whole idea of this Samudra Manthan means these outcomes means these are siddhis. These are worldly achievement. These can be distractions to spiritual seekers. And the poison in the Samudra Manthan signifies the challenges that comes in the spiritual path. But the Puranic story talks about two things. One is a white horse, pure white horse, very powerful horse, considered as the best among all the horses. So Krishna tells, if you see horses, I am Ucheshravas, because Ucheshravas is the best horse known to the literature, Puranic literature. And then among elephants, because I am the Airavata. Airavata means it is again the celestial elephant that is given to with four tusks. It is emerged again during the Samudra Banthan. It is the elephant of Indra, the Devas king. So again, Krishna is just among all the elephants, I am Airavata. So when you think about Airavata or Ucheshravas, those who are familiar with Puranic story, Krishna wanted to highlight this. Again, this is to make sure that whoever, like imagine in olden days, these Puranic stories were very popular and Krishna wanted to relate with something which are popular. So that's it. So he says, he highlights himself, these two. And then among all the human being, the king has more power, more visible. His power appears to be more visible to people. So he says that, okay, when you see the king, somebody who has more power, see like divinity in that, because that again, wherever something is highlighted, that is what is shown here. So again, this is nothing more than that. The whole idea is the same, just something great is highlighted. So that is Shloka 27. Let's continue. Let's go to Shloka 28. Shloka 28 also is interesting.
आयुधानामहं वज्रं धेनूनामस्मि कामधुक् प्रजनश्चास्मि कन्दर्पः सर्पाणामस्मि वासुकिः.
Again, same illustrations. So he says, out of all the weapons, I am the thunderbolt of Indra. Of all the cows, I am Kamathenu. And I am Kamadeva, or the Manmatha, the cause of offspring. And among serpents, I am Vasuki. Again, the prominent among a particular species or prominent among a particular group is highlighted. That is the whole idea of this slokas, as I said. So let's deep dive a little bit. So Vajra means among all the divine weapons mentioned in Purana, Krishna identifies with Vajra, the thunderbolt of Indra. So this Vajra, the story is, this Vajra was crafted from the spinal bone of a Maharshi called Datiji. Why? Because this sage sacrificed his life to create this weapon to destroy a demon called Vritrasura. So this Vritrasura, what happens? He was very powerful and he had a boon as per the Puranic stories. He cannot be destroyed with any other weapons other than the spinal bone, a weapon made out of the spinal bone of a particular, meaning a sage. So that is why Dadhiji Maharshi sacrificed his life for the protection of the world. So this Vajra symbolizes the power of tapas, spiritual strength, and also the power of sacrifice, Tyaga. So the tapas, Tyaga are the symbolism of this Vajra. That is why, which is superior to physical and mental power. So Vajra symbolizes the power of tapas and the spiritual strength, which is superior to any other power we have. So this story of Dathiji Maharshi, Indra and the Vritra, it highlights the inner strength through spiritual practice. It supersedes all the physical strength. So that is why it is highlighted. Among all the weapons, I am the thunderbolt. That is what Krishna highlights. Then among all the cows, I am Kamadhenu. Kamadhenu again is a celestial cow mentioned in our Puranic literature. Kamadhenu is known as a wish fulfilling cow, right? The divine wish fulfilling cow is known as Kamadhenu. Again, this Kamadhenu emerged during the Samudra Manthan, and this Kamadhenu could grant any wish. So symbolically, Kamadhenu represents the human mind and intellect, right? So if the human mind and intellect, which is properly tapped, one can achieve anything, not just the material wishes. So if you use your mind and intellect properly, you have enormous strength. Your intellect and mind can be considered like a Kamadhenu. Kamadhenu is very symbolic. Let's not carried away by the story again. So Kamadhenu is symbolically represents the human mind and intellect, which can potentially grant any of the wishes we have, right? Not just the material wish, but even the moksha. Even one needs to get the moksha. He needs to have, meaning it can be achieved only through his mind and intellect. Remember, the path to moksha is first is what? Mala nivritti, then vikshepa nivritti, and it can be done only using your mind and intellect. And then avarana nivritti, which is knowledge. So everything can be done only using karma yoga. Karma yoga is also known as buddhi yoga, because merely executing karma is not karma yoga, right? We already talked about that a lot. Nobody can do karma yoga. You can do karma, but when you do the karma with an attitude, using the intelligence and the mind, that becomes karma yoga. And with that karma yoga, upasana yoga, and jnana yoga, one can even lead up to moksha. So Kamadhenu represents your mind and intellect. Properly tapped, it can grant any wishes. So that is the next point. Then the next one is Kandarpa. Kandarpa means deity of desire or kama. So Krishna say that Kandarpa means the desire, the driving force behind creation and productivity. So this kama is the cause of all creation, and all the human endeavors originate from desires. Again, in the 7th chapter, Krishna said that not all desires are bad. Desires which are aligned with dharma is good. So Kamadeva is the one who is kindling all the desires, and when properly controlled, right, when aligned with dharma, that becomes the source of all the creation. So that is why, meaning I am Kamadeva. Then he say, out of serpents, I am Vasuki. So there are several serpents described in our Purana. Vasuki is the snake, which is usually the ornament of Bhagavan Shiva, because there are several snakes. So I don't know whether you know the story. If you read Mahabharata, you read all the stories of the serpents and Garudas. There are several snakes, like very Sarpas mentioned, like Ananta, the bed of Mahavishnu. Then Vasuki, the ornament of Bhagavan Shiva. Then Takshaka, another snake with a lot of poison. Then Karkodaga. Like that, there are several snakes mentioned. And out of that, I am Vasuki, because meaning serpent symbolizes typically the ahankara, the ego. And if understood and properly aligned, it becomes an ornament for a jnani. See, the ahankara, the sense of individuality, is a curse for a lot of people. But if it is properly identified and if it is properly controlled, it becomes an ornament. That is what is for a jnani. So for Lord Shiva, serpent is an ornament. For everybody else, what happens? The serpent is the cause of death or problem or the fear. So the ahankara or the ego, which can destroy any human being, which is very dangerous to any human being, becomes an ornament to a jnani, Shiva. So this is the beauty of Lord Shiva, because the Shiva Sankalpa is such a beautiful idea in our culture, which encapsulates a lot. One of them is the serpents, and the other one is what? Like, there is a lot of things we can learn from Shiva, like the Pasma, Trishula, the Kapala. All those things are very symbolic. Meaning, when time permits, we'll have one session on the Shiva Sankalpa, because it is one of the most powerful Sankalpa in our Puranic literature. Another interesting thing is that, like, uh, this Kalakuda Visha, right? So during this Samudra Manthan, what happens? There is a poison that came out from the ocean, which can destroy the entire humanity. So what happens? Lord Shiva drank that Kalakuta Visha, which is known as Halahala, and that became an ornament for him. Even the most dangerous poison became an ornament for him. But imagine Rahu, the Asura. The Rahu, what he did? He drank Amrita. Amrita typically makes somebody immortal. But that very same Amrita became the cause of his death. So that is what, like, if depending upon who you are, everything else works. So for a Shankara, even the poison became an ornament, and for Rahu, even the Amritam became a source of big pain. That is what it is. So this, by highlighting Krishna himself identifying with Vasuki, it tells, like, reminds this aspect. So meditating upon the serpent on Lord Shiva, you can see that divinity. You can visualize all these points. You can visualize that for a jnani, even the most dangerous serpent becomes an ornament. Symbolically, the ego becomes an ornament. So that is Vasuki. So that covers Shloka 29. Let's listen one more time and then we go to the next Shloka.
आयुधानामहं वज्रं धेनूनामस्मि कामधुक् प्रजनश्चास्मि कन्दर्पः सर्पाणामस्मि वासुकिः.
Out of all the ornaments, I am Vajra. Out of all the cows, I am Kamadhenu. Out of all the one who is the cause of offsprings, I am Kamadeva, Manmatha. And out of all the serpents, I am Vasuki. Usually that's just Puranic meaning and go away, but contemplate upon the details. These are very interesting points. Good for meditation. Let's continue with the next shloka, which is shloka number 29. So shloka number 29. Okay, let's play.
अनन्तश्चास्मि नागाना वरुणो यादसामहं पितॄणामर्यमा चास्मि यमः संयमतामहम्.
So he tells, so earlier he said serpents out of all the sorry, I think, let me play one more time. I think I moved to shloka 30.
अनन्तश्चास्मि नागाना वरुणो यादसामहं पितॄणामर्यमा चास्मि यमः संयमतामहम्.
Okay. So out of all nagas, because earlier, previous shloka, we saw out of all the sarpas. Now it is nagas. I am Ananta. Out of all the water body, I am Varuna. Of all the Pritras, I am Anyama. And those who practices self-control, I am Yama. So these are the, again highlighting some of the glories of the Bhagavan. So let's deep dive into this shloka, right? So the first one is Ananta among Nagas. So Nagas are a type of snakes, like often differentiated from Sarpas. Sarpas typically means poisonous snakes, and Nagas are slightly different. A little bit of divine snakes, that is Nagas. And Krishna identified as Ananta. Ananta is also known as Adishesha. So Adishesha is always associated with Vishnu, who reclines on this Ananta. So his Ananta Shayanam posture is very famous. In the famous Padmanabha Swami temple in Thiruvananthapuram, this is what Ananta Shayana is described. So Ananta symbolizes Nirguna Brahman, the formless ultimate reality, right? And it's an eternal reminder during the it is always remind, because that is where even Bhagavan rests. That is why it is Nirguna Brahman. So Ananta is also seen as the infinite support and stability, because imagine Bhagavan himself is resting on it. So Ananta is very stable, and he won't even close his eyes. So that is why among Nagas, Ananta is highlighted. So Adishesha, it is the recliner or the bird of Lord Vishnu. So these two are highlighted, right? So there are two serpents or snakes associated in the Puranic literature. One with Lord Shiva, Vasuki. So already Krishna identified with Vasuki, which symbolizes the ego, which becomes an ornament. The ego that converted into an ornament for a jnani, and then Ananta, who in whom Bhagavan resides, Bhagavan rests. So where Bhagavan rests is symbolically representing the Nirguna Brahman. That is why Ananta is listed there. So Ananta among Nagas. So the next one is Varuna among water bodies. So among all the water bodies or water deities, Krishna identifies with Varuna. Varuna symbolically is the presiding deity of ocean. And as you know, ocean is the largest reservoir of water. So Varuna is worshipped in our Vedic culture during the Sayam Sandhya, the evening prayers, and revered as a Vedic deity with powerful mantras, including Varuna Sukta. There is a Sandhya Vandanam called Varuna Sukta. So Varuna symbolizes protection, balance, sustains. Varuna is the one who is governing the large water body, resources of the world. So that is why symbolically we pray to Varuna. So Krishna tells, among all the deities of water related to water, I am Varuna, because Varuna is the king of all the water deities. Don't think that these are like mythological stories. These are symbolic representation, right? It's meaning the doubt we have is because we see all these Amar Chitragadas and everywhere Varuna with a glittering dress, etc. No, Varuna is like a symbolically representing all the water body. That's it. So when you see that, it is visible to us and we worship that. And whom we worship, we are not worshipping that deity. We know that it's the glory of the Bhagavan, one infinite Bhagavan that comes through this Varuna, and that is what we worship. So he says, I am Varuna among the water deities. Then he say among Pritars or the ancestors. Pritars means ancestors. He say, I am Aryama. So among the ancestral deities in our culture, everything is divine, right? So even the Pitars or the ancestral universe is governed by a set of deities, and that is what is known as Pritar deities, Pritar Devaha. So Krishna identified out of all those devas, Aryama. Aryama means he is the chief of all the Pritars. So when you do Shraddha, right? Shraddha and Tarpana rituals, Aryama is the presiding deity. So this Aryama ensures that these offering gets to the Pitrus effectively. And this is very important. So that is why Aryama represents the guidance and care for the departed souls in the spiritual realms. That's it. So that is why he identifies with the Aryama. Again, most of these are from Puranas. So since we are far away, meaning not that close to Puranas, each of these things little bit of explanation. But conceptually, please try to understand that this is not try to make you understand all these stories of Pitras, Aryamas, and Varunas, etc. No, here he is highlighting where you can see me. Like in the modern world, we can even take only the examples that are related to the nature. That is good enough. The next one is, he say, among all the people who do the practice, I am Yama. Yama is the Lord of time, Lord of death, who governs the cycle of death and birth. Yama represents the time, right? And time is the ultimate controller of all the beings in the universe. Think, time is the ultimate controller of all the beings in the universe, all the events in the universe, symbolizing that the inevitable transformation and transience of life. So it is very interesting if you think about the time. Just think about the time. Time is Bhagavan, and that is exactly what it is. So this shloka emphasizes that Kala humbles and transforms everyone. Imagine 100 years back, none of us was here. 100 years from now, none of us will be here. So Kala, even the emperor, the most powerful person in the universe, like the Caesar, like the Akbar, like the Shivaji, all these great people with enormous strength, enormous power, who ruled the entire universe, they were humbled and transformed by the time. It stripped everything away. It every arrogance, every material pride, it will go over the period of time. Those who are very much proud of their body and the like beauty, what happens over a period of time? It will go. So Kalo Jagat Pakshaha, that is what Shankaracharya tells. Slowly, it eats the whole universe and yourself. So among all the controllers, I am the time, because time is the greatest controller or the transformer of the universe. So that's the meaning of this shloka. Let's try to play one more time.
Anantaschasmi nagana Varuno yadasamaham Pitrunamaryama chasmi Yamasamyamatamaham.
Excellent. So now let's go to the next shloka, which is shloka 30.
Anantaschasmi nagana Varuno yadasamaham.
Sorry.
Prahladaschaasmi daityanam Kalakalayatamaham Mriganancha mrigendroham Vainateyascha pakshinam.
Again, he tells among all the Daityas means Asuras, I am Prahlada. And all the measures, I am time. Again, the time is mentioned. Of all the beasts, I am the lion. And among all the birds, I am Garuda. Again, Krishna is trying to identify himself with himself means Ishvara, with the most glorious among all the everything in the creation. So if you take in modern world, you can create modern examples. This is based upon the examples available at that point of time. All these points are like that. So let's try to deep dive into, a little bit more deep dive into the Shloka 30. So Prahlada among all the Asuras. So Prahlada, we all know, right? He is the greatest devotee. There is no meaning, not a greater devotee than Prahlada. So Prahlada was the son of the Asura king Hiranyakashipu. And Hiranyakashipu, as you know, he hated the gods completely and he was doing all the atrocities. And that is the miracle. And Prahlada was born as the son of this Asura. And he exemplified his exemplified devotion, character, spiritual wisdom, showcases that or proves that the character and action is more important than where you are born. You could be the son of an asura, it doesn't matter. You can be the greatest devotee of God. So Prahlada was without a doubt the greatest devotee of Ishvara. The story of the Prahlada emphasized the transformative power of the spiritual sadhana. You might have read in Bhagavatam, during this Narasimha Avatara, like Ishvara, Bhagavan was in a fearful form. Even like even the in the divine forms like Brahmaji or Bhagavan Shiva was not courageous enough to go in front of that particular form. Forget about all the devas, asuras, and the human. Nobody could even look at that Narasimha. At that point of time, Narada takes Prahlada and sent in front of Lord. And the Lord became so happy and take him and keep him in his lap. So this Prahlada, so that is why among devotees or among Daityas, I am Prahlada. There is nobody who can be considered like Prahlada. And the Prahlada story is very inspiring. Like those who read Bhagavata, you should read that. When we do Bhagavata, meaning I always wish to do Bhagavata once. After the Ramayana, we can consider that. But Prahlada's story is always inspiring. So that is Prahlada. Then time, Kala, among all the timekeepers. So earlier we identified Kala as all the time as the greatest controller. And here Krishna identifies Kala as the governing power. Specifically, Shankaracharya calls out, because you think that why the Kala or the time is repeating in the previous shloka and this shloka. It's a deliberate repetition, because earlier it was mainly the controller of the life, controller of the universe, everything. Kalo Jagat Bhakshaha. Here, Kala is considered as the governing, the power of Bhagavan that governs the management of karma. So, technically speaking, or meaning Puranically speaking, it is Kala or the Yamadharma that keep track. Chitragupta, who is reporting to Yamadharma, he is the one who keep track of all the karmic activities and make sure that the karma phalas are properly given and the results are given, the situations are given, and complication of intermingling of karma, like the collective karma of the society, the collective karma of the family, the collective karma of the country, all that is properly distributed. It requires a huge intelligence. It is the intelligence of the universal order. So this aspect of the Yamadharma is highlighted. So that is why among all the timekeepers, I am Kala, because I manages the law of karma. That is that idea. The next point is, he says, I am Mrigendraha. So among all the animals, among all the Mrigas, I am Mrigendra. Mrigendra is lion. Lion, as you know, like lion is considered as the king of the jungle symbolically, right? Or story wise. So that is what it's been taken. And the lion symbolizes strength, courage, and the leadership, as he is the king of the forest. So that is why, like, the magnificence of sun, the lion, you will not be, meaning when you see a set of animals and a lion can be easily differentiated. And that is why he says among the beast and the lion. So imagine, like, Bhagavan is present in every aspect of the universe. Puranic, in the animal kingdom, in the plant kingdom. You can see that in Rudram, that type of prayers. So Bhagavan is there everywhere. If you open your eyes, you cannot miss that Bhagavan. So even you can meditate upon a lion, the magnificence of the lion, the beauty of the lion, the strength of the power, the lion, the courage of the lion. As per the story, the lion can even fight with an elephant. So that shows the courage. So if you think about that, you can see that manifestation of the Bhagavan. And that is why among animals, among Mrigas, I am the Mrigendra. Then he says, among among the birds, I am Garuda. So among birds, Krishna identifies as Garuda. Garuda is the mount or the Vahana of Lord Vishnu. Right? Garuda, as per the Purana, is the son of Vinita, because all the serpents were the son of Kardru, and Garuda is the son of Vinita, is always celebrated for the devotion to Vishnu and the role he plays in carrying Lord everywhere. So in Vaishnava tradition, Garuda holds a prominent and revered position as a great devotee. And that is why he identified with the Garuda. So in all the Vaishnava temple, you see Garuda standing. That's Shloka 30. So one more Shloka we'll see. So 31.
पवनः पवतामस्मि रामः शस्त्रभृतामहम् झषाणां मकरश्चास्मि स्रोतसामस्मि जाह्नवी.
So he says, among all the purifiers, I am wind, Vayu. All the warriors, I am Bhagavan Rama. All the fishes, I am the shark. And among all the rivers, I am Ganga. Janvi means Ganga. So let's quickly deep dive into some of the pointers. So Vayu as the purifier among. So he says, among all the purifiers, I am Vayu. And Vayu stands out for its cleansing ability. Like fire is also considered as a purifier. Water also is considered as a purifier. But wind removes all the foulness and carries always freshness, symbolizing divine purification. So that is why Vayu is worshipped in Vedic culture as a divine force, by showing our reverence for the natural. Meaning it's a natural part of the Indian tradition to show reverence to these natural forces. So that is why Vayu is highlighted. And even we can, more than purifier, we can meditate Vayu as the life giver, because without Vayu we cannot sustain our life. So that's also important. You can meditate on that. The next one is among all the warriors, I am Rama, because Rama is the ideal warrior. See, he carries weapon for what? Not for any other thing, but to protect dharma. So when Rama carries weapon, it is not for anything, not to destroy anybody, but to protect dharma. Because Ramo Vigrahavan Dharma, Raja Satya Parakrama, Raja Sarvasya Lokasya, Devanam Iva Vasavaha. This is so Rama carries weapon, and there is no archer or no meaning like Rama. So that is why Rama is highlighted. So Rama exemplifies the compassionate use of power. Usually the powerful people, they use power as for cruelty or injustice, but Rama never compromised dharma. So he's the compassionate use of power. So that's what it is. Then Makara, out of all the fishes, I am Makara Malsya. So Makara could be, probably, I am not 100% sure, it could be whale or shark, representing strength and the majestic creation of the water. So that is Makara. Then out of all rivers, I am Ganga. Ganga is considered as a sacred river, the most revered river in our culture. So symbolically, it represents Brahma Vidya, or the spiritual knowledge. So due to some of the qualities, let's quickly look at that. Origin. So symbolically, Ganga originates from Bhagavan Shiva's head. So the whole idea is Brahma Vidya flows from the divine source through the Guru. That is why Ganga. That is why we consider Ganga as sacred, because of the reasons I'm talking. Second thing is that flowing, like Ganga flows from the highest peak, which is Gangotri or Gomukh, to a lower plain. Like ultimately, it reaches the Bay of Bengal. It signifies the descent of divine wisdom flowing from higher plane to the lower plane to guide the humanity. That is what Ganga represents. Just like the Brahma Vidya comes from Ishvara to the material world, and those who connect with the Brahma Vidya are protected. Like that, Ganga flows from a higher plane to the lower plane, nourishing all the path it travels. Third thing is that perennial nature. Unlike all the rivers, the Ganga never dries. During the rainy season, the rainwater will flow. During the summer, what happens? The snow in the Himalaya melts, and again the Ganga is always full. And you go to Rishikesh or you go to all these places and look at the flow of Ganga. It is majestic. You can see that. So that perennial nature. So the Brahma Vidya is also perennial. It is unbroken through this Guru Shishya Parampara. So that is what is the perennial nature of the Ganga. And then rejuvenation. Typically, it is believed that a dip in Ganga is going to refresh the body and the mind. Just like if you take a dip in Brahma Vidya, it revitalizes your mind and spirit. So that is the rejuvenation aspect. And safety through guidance. So just as one going to take a bath in the Ghats or Rishikesh, they need to enter safely, otherwise it will carries. So it indicates that even getting into the Brahma Vidya, one needs a teacher to avoid the misunderstanding or misinterpretations. So because of all these reasons, Ganga is considered as Brahma Vidya, and that is why among rivers, I am Ganga. Then the whole idea of this shloka is like the reverence for nature and knowledge. That is what is highlighted. So that is the shloka, and we can close here.